Hello students, here's going to be a tutorial on putting together the first portion of the assembly for the Mosaic puzzle. So what I need to do is I've opened up my Mosaic puzzle project where I have my parts, and then in another part studio I have my case. This is going to be a little bit different if you put them all in separate projects. So just know you're going to have to click on a few different buttons if that's the case for you. I'm going to go up to Insert, and what I'm going to do is the very first part I'm going to insert is going to be the case. So I am just going to click on it, and I'm going to hit the green check mark. Now, before I do anything else, I don't want this case to move in space at all. Like in this model space, I don't want it to rotate at all. So I'm going to right click on the case on the left-hand side, and I'm going to go to Fix. So this little symbol right there means that the part is fixed and it won't move around. Now I can still pan around. Remember, this is just the camera. I can still pan around. I can still look at it at different views, but this is the position it'll always be in. Next, I'm going to go to Insert, and I see that I have Part Studio 1 with my other parts. If, again, you don't see that in your current document because you did it in other places, you're going to have to click in Other Documents, go to My Onshape, and find your other parts in here. So I'm going to click the little arrow for the Part Studio here, and I'm going to click my L block, and this is the first part I'm going to bring in. So I'm going to go ahead and hit check. Now, if I click and hold this part, you can see I can move it around. It's not fixed. I didn't make it fixed. What I want to do is take this part, and I want to put it in this corner. So first, what I can do is I can get this in the correct orientation that it goes in. So if you're looking at the document, you'll know that this needs to kind of lay down here. This face needs to touch this face. So to do this, I'm going to click on the part once. I just clicked on it once. And I'm going to find the rotation symbol that looks like this. And if I click and hold this, you can see I can actually rotate my part. As I rotate it, it gives me the amount of degrees I can rotate it. As I'm moving it, you see that you're going to come to a certain degree rotation. And for mine, I want it to be 90 degrees. So in the 90-degree orientation, it's pretty much in the perfect orientation for it to go into this spot. Now what I need to do is actually place this in here. This is always going to be the toughest one, but to give you a hint, I'm going to take that corner right there, and I want that corner to go into that corner. If I do that correctly, then it should work. So at the top, we have all these different types of mates that we can do. We're not going to explore all of them. Instead, we're mostly going to look at the one called fastened. And that means it's going to take two parts, put them together, and it's going to remove all degrees of freedom. And what that means is the part will not be able to rotate at all. It's going to be stuck in that position. So I'm going to click Fasten Mate, and I'm going to come into this face. And you can see here when I go over this face and I move my cursor, I can click on any of these points. Now you want to be careful because, like you can see here, if I went up to this face but I accidentally went over a bit, then it can rotate. You know, like that little symbol there can actually change position, which we don't want. So I'm going to go on here, and I'm going to go to this bottom corner, and I'm going to click on it. So you can see here that it's pretty much saying that face, and it's saying, putting a little circle on that corner, and please pay attention to the orientation of that little symbol. All right, that symbol is flat against that face. Next, I'm going to rotate my camera, and I'm going to go into this face, and I'm just going to hold my cursor over it, and I'm going to go to that corner, and I want to make sure that that little symbol is in the same orientation like that, and I'm going to click. You can see now it puts those 2 points together, so it's mating those 2 points. And I don't have to mess with anything here in this little box. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit the green check mark. Now, I don't need to do another fasten right now, so I'm going to hit X, and I'm just going to check something. I'm going to click and hold the blue piece and see if I can move it. I'm trying to move it. I can't because it's stuck that corner to that box. All right, let's do another one. So I'm going to go Insert, little arrow, and let's grab this rectangular block. I believe this rectangular block goes into this spot. So I'm going to show you, what if I don't rotate it? What will happen? So if I don't rotate this so it's laying down, watch. So I'm going to go Fasten Mate. And for this one, I could use corners again, or I could use the center of faces. So I know if I go to the yellow block here, that the very center of this face, this, is going to mate up with the very center of this face. So I'm going to click that. Now, if we look here, those 2 points are together, but the yellow piece is going through the blue piece, which we don't want. So now this is where we can use some of the options down here. So one of them is to flip the primary axis. So if I click that, you can see that it shifts it to the other side. That right there is solved for us. Now, I could rotate the secondary axis. And what this would do is it would actually, you can't tell, but if you look at the triad here, the Y, X, and Z, as I click that, that does change. So if you have a part where the two faces are touching correctly, then, but it still stays standing up, you can rotate it on there. Let me see if I can find an example of that. So let's go Insert, and let's bring in the small L block. Now for this portion, I don't believe the small L block goes in this orientation, so just an FYI, you might not want to do it this way, but I wanted to give you an example of rotating it. So I'm going to go to Fasten Mate, and I'm going to say that center part of the face to this center part of the face. If I flip, okay, well, I flipped it, but we got a problem. The small L block is going through the part, and we want that to be laying down. So this is where an example of reorienting the second axis would come into play. So I can click it once, and it reoriented it correctly. And you can see what happened if I keep clicking it. It just rotates about that point. And if that's what I'd like, I can go ahead and hit check. But I don't know if that piece goes there, so I'm not going to place that in there. But this is just your short tutorial on how to start placing some pieces in and getting in the correct orientation. Hopefully this helps you if you struggled with the demonstration from your teacher today.